Bradley, 3 touchdowns. Impressive night.
You take him and Lacey and Webb and you put those 3 together, that's a trio of champions right there. Those guys are very impressive tonight.
Squibb kicked that time.
Returned by Isaiah Wooler.
That was
a little bit different this week. Today is a Monday, even though it's not. But in this program, it's Monday. And so our guys have had a couple of days off, which is well-deserved, well-earned. You think we're 6 weeks into the season, but in reality, we're about 11 weeks in if you include fall camp, which is oftentimes the biggest grind. I think our guys did a great job this past week of responding to some of the adversity that we've had in the last 2 games, and certainly came out with great urgency in a place that we've never won before, and really kind of put the hammer down. The key is going to be continuing to do those things. I'm not saying that we're going to have blowout games for the rest of the season, of course, but just the consistency that we are starting to play with is really encouraging. When we don't give up explosive plays on defense, when we manage the game and are able to run the ball offensively and we don't turn it over, we've got a pretty good football team. And we've seen the best of ourselves and the worst of ourselves over the first half of the season. The key, particularly in our conference, will be the teams that make adjustments from what they have done and what they have put on tape, both positive and things that they haven't done well enough on the back half of the season. And I like our team right now. I'm excited to go fight with them.
Questions?
Different opponent, obviously, but what did you guys do that limited them getting behind you on defense, so to speak?
Some of that was schematic. Some of that was discipline in our eyes. We're just getting better at some of the eye discipline and things, putting our eyes in the right place, getting lined up. Schematically, that also helps because we're limiting some of our game plan in terms of how multiple we are. I would say we're still probably multiple to an opponent, and yet at the same time simple in some of our fits, and also simple in some of our coverage reactions and things where we got to put our eyes. So our corners have been doing. They've been getting better and better each week. Really even. You look at the last few weeks. I mean, Cuddy gave up, the one James Madison touchdown at the beginning of the game on a 3rd down. Had his eyes in the wrong place. Can't do that. But really, our corners have played really clean football. Our safeties, I thought, have gotten significantly better from the beginning of the season in terms of just being in the right place and being consistently in the right place. And I think, some of the things we're doing we're forcing the ball back to our core, and our D-line has proven to be a matchup issue in just about every game that we've played for opposing teams' O-line.
Atmosphere Tuesday, you always expect something big with Southern Miss anyway, but then you add a Tuesday, you add a national TV audience.
Yeah.
Just how fun is that atmosphere going to be, do you think?
Well, I'm excited about a midweek game on national TV, the atmosphere that this creates. We're a young program. We're even a younger on-campus stadium, and so to get to have these moments as a fan base and as a university and as students, I think that's a really special thing to be able to do. I think they may be getting out of class a little bit early, which is always fun as a student. And so for us to be able to have moments like this is really special. I think it's also to be honored by the Sun Belt. You look over the years, the better teams in the league get some of these midweek matchups. We're fortunate enough to be one of only a few teams to get 2 of them this year, and this being our first one. And then I think, Troy on a Thursday night later on in the season playing for the belt. So moments like this are special. They're great for our fans. For our players, this is a Monday, and next Tuesday just happens to be our Saturday. So there's a fine line there of appreciating some of the moment and the excitement and all that stuff, getting to play at home, which we haven't been able to do very much this season. and yet at the same time, you go out and you do your job with great urgency, and I certainly saw that from our guys last week.
You're going into a stretch where the schedule is going to be a little different. You know, you got a Tuesday, you got a Thursday in a couple of weeks, and another Saturday off and all that kind of stuff. How much of a challenge is that schedule-wise?
Yeah, when you're fitting in midweek games in the middle of a season where you're kind of getting a rhythm of Saturdays, it takes a lot of effort on the front end to figure those things out. If you had been in my office about a month and a half, 2 months ago, it would have looked like a beautiful mind and Russell Crowe, you know what I mean? I had diagrams and bulletin boards and all these different things, right, trying to figure out how best to just navigate our team. And I think, really this whole month of October, I mean, we spent hours and hours trying to figure out exactly what we were going to do really back in the summertime and a little bit of fall camp. And I think we've got a really good plan. Some of that started this past week with how we were going to do some things on the road against Louisiana Monroe. And I thought that went really, really well. And then that kind of pushed us right into what we're doing this week. And so hopefully our schedule will prevail.
I guess got a chance to rest up too. Mike Harris, Josh McCullough.
Yeah, I think we will be as healthy as we have been, maybe since the beginning of the season. Of course, you got some guys that are, out for long term, but in terms of the guys that we think are potentially available, I would anticipate everybody being back this week.
Frank Gore, how big a challenge is he to prepare for, considering the throwing part of his game as well?
Yeah. Do you mean like out of the Wildcat stuff that he can do? Yeah. I think Wildcat can be. You got to look at it two different ways. Is the quarterback a throwing option, or is he not? I was fortunate enough to be a part of the Arkansas football team, right, when we had Darren McFadden as our quarterback running the Wildcat. Felix Jones was our jet sweep guy, and you had Peyton Hillis as kind of the fullback. And we had a 6'6" receiver in Marcus Monk that we could throw it out to, and Darren could throw it. He threw for, I think, like 7 or 8 touchdowns our SEC championship year that we went and played Florida, including I think he had at least 1 passing touchdown against Florida. So when you look at that, right, you got to defend that completely different than you do a team that does not have a throwing option. And so Frank Gore, can throw the ball. I mean, he can get it out there. So you kind of have different calls versus, just a running Wildcat offense. On top of that, I think, Frank's just, you can tell he's an experienced runner. He's a very patient runner at times. And if you give him creases 3-4 seconds into a play, he can make something happen. And so we got to be very disciplined in terms of our gap progression. Our defensive line, very physical at the point of attack. Oftentimes they treat offensive linemen like rag dolls, but we got to be very careful about that. Of throwing a guy and then getting out of gap in position with a running back like this. I told the team this morning when we gave Bubba the number 5 jersey, there are players that get, immediate recognition, production, accolades. You can think about Colin Lacey, LaDamian Webb, Yam Banks, Jaden Voisin, right? Those guys are noticeable by the amount of production that they get in the stat line, and yet probably the most dominant player on the field more often than not is Bubba Thomas, right? He's never going to get the stat line like some of these other guys, and yet he is a huge piece of why our defense can run the way that we can run. And so, he's one of probably many. I would say right now Jamal Hickbottom, Charles Coleman, Jamie Sheriff, those guys are playing at a really high level right now, along with, really you can go further down the list. But certainly I think Bubba, is a quiet, very physical presence and a guy that does his job with a lot of consistency right now, and very deserving of the number 5 jersey.
Saw our guys just play consistent ball for 4 quarters, saw a lot of good execution, saw good effort. Talked this morning about, going on the road, taking care of the ball, number one. Great effort down the field, created some explosives. We talked about one of our keys to the game was scoring touchdowns in the red area. Proud of that, 5 of 6 touchdowns in the red area. And then we just talked about the preparation, the mental focus going into the week, the way we felt this week preparing for Louisiana Monroe, not losing sight of that, having the underdog mentality in terms of backs in the corner, back against the wall type mentality, and just go back and have another great week of preparation so we can have those type of results again.
With everything still in front of you, in terms of the Sun Belt, to have that type of offensive performance, how key was that for these guys to see it and see it in action in the conference game?
I thought it was, the guys have seen it in glimpses. It was good for them to see it and feel it over 4 quarters. It was good for them to go into the locker room and feel a lead and come back and expand that lead and continue to play with intensity, to see backups come in and play with intensity and produce. That's what you want, but that's one game. And, that's what we talked about is, be proud of the things you've done. But at the same time, let's humble ourselves and get ready for another week and focus on what this opponent's going to bring.
Southern Miss new defensive coordinator, how different are they? What stands out?
They still play the game really hard. They still got good athletes, got good players. They play the game the right way. See them playing a lot of man coverage. They do play some zone, but they've got good players outside. And so they believe in them. They play man-to-man. They're coached well. I think they're a defense that, as of late, they haven't had as many points on the board, so they've had to go out there quite a bit. But I see those guys playing no different than last year. They're a tenacious group. They play hard. They've got good length and size inside. They've got good experience across the board, although they did lose some guys, but they had a lot of backups that played last year. So they're a very good defense, and I know they're going to be ready to go Tuesday night.
To have a great year despite other guys getting hurt or whatever. Just how huge has he been for you this year?
Oh, he's tremendous. I mean, with Devin going out, you graduate one, you lose one to injury, and then one of your top 3 guys is remaining 3 games into the season. So that's a shot. And for Colin to continue to produce that way, Jamal Pritchett to come in, step in, Javon Ivory step in. You're seeing more guys, Jeremiah Webb, Shamar Sangren, J. Jawan Townsend. All those guys are starting to contribute more, get more and more comfortable. But Colin's performance week in and week out has been phenomenal, and it's something our offense needs. When you put the ball in Forrest's hands, he makes plays.
You were able to get Gio quite a bit of playing time. What did you see from him?
The game allowed for it. It was something we wanted to do. I saw him execute well. I saw there were some things that we need to continue to work on, but in terms of just being comfortable out there, I was impressed. Was comfortable out there on the field, comfortable getting the plays in and out. There's just things that you learn that first time on the stage, and then the second time is a little bit easier, and now the journey begins.
We executed. I thought we played physical. Guys were assignment sound. They played with good eyes. Some of the things that have hurt us in the past, ULM tried early, double break routes, a lot of the same things that James Madison did to us were in those first 20 plays, and it was good to see our guys come out and execute and start off as well as we did.
How important is it for them to see that? I mean, we had a running quarterback that didn't really hurt us. No explosive plays,
sure.
But that's what this team's capable of.
Yeah, the biggest thing is just taking the game plan and bringing it to the grass. You see those fits on a Monday afternoon, a Tuesday morning, Wednesday, and the things that we've struggled with is the consistency of bringing that to game day. And so, it's not fixed. It's a constant work in progress. But to reward the kids for that and to see that, if I can do it on a Tuesday, the same thing happens on game day. I put myself in pretty good position. And eye discipline, playing on top of the routes, competing for the ball. Tackling, our leverage. A lot of positives from the game on Saturday.
I guess Gore is the guy you got to really pay attention to.
Yeah.
So that's just how big a challenge it is, especially that he can throw the ball.
Sure. No, he's it feels like he's been in the league for a long time now. But multifaceted. They're not doing as much wildcat as in the past. But his ability to in the Wildcat package to throw the ball. We saw that firsthand. He's just a really good player. Get him the ball out of the backfield, as a receiving threat. Very, very good vision player. I think he anticipates cuts very well. He's played a lot of snaps. He's seen a lot of football.
The rest of their offense, what stands out?
Last year that they kind of got banged up at the quarterback position, so they've gotten some more consistency this year. With the Wiles kid, I feel like he's starting to settle in on the offense. The offensive line, they're big and physical as they always have been. The tight ends, they got a lot of guys that are back. They're a pretty veteran unit. A lot of these guys we've faced for the last couple of years. So we feel like we got a pretty good feel for what they do and what they do well. And, it's going to be a tremendous challenge for us.
I just think we play as a team all 4 quarters all together consistently and, all firing on the same cylinder. So I think we just came together as a team and delivered, played like we know we could and know like we should have been playing. So now I just think that was just our consistency all coming together in this one game, and we just going to keep building forward from there.
Is there kind of a different attitude because of that? Because, everything is still in front of us, all the goals that we want.
The attitude we got now is like what our head coach said, I back against the wall now, we so good and we let the first few games slip away. So now it's like when a dog back against the wall, what are you gonna do? So now back against the wall, so we coming out fighting every game. It just built us to be better and not take nothing for granted. Not because what we did last year doesn't matter. So now. Since we done faced this adversity, I just think with our back against the wall, we coming out swinging.
The extra few days off, how were you guys able to use that?
The extra few days off, I think was good. We got to get some rest in, some treatment. The guys that probably wasn't feel too good or had some bang up, they was able to get that rest. We got treatment in, so I think the 2 days that we had off was good, beneficial, and you'll be able to see it. What stands out when I watch Southern Miss is really the O-line in the running game. They try to run the ball a lot. They try to give Frank Gore the ball and make him the star over there. So.
Yeah, he obviously has a history of not only running but throwing the ball. Just how keyed in do you have to be on him when he gets the ball in his hands?
You gotta be real keyed in because he get the threat to throw the ball too, little pop passes and stuff to the tight end. So you just gotta be locked in and make sure and when he running, and then when they do Wildcat, you gotta just the back end have their eyes in the right place on their guys, and then the front seven taking care of the run. So that won't be no threat or a problem.
With them being so close, typically this is a big game anyway. But now you add Tuesday night, you add national TV. Talk about the atmosphere you expect.
I think it's gonna be a good atmosphere, atmosphere where it's like a rivalry. Coach said we almost sold out, and we still got a week, less than a week to go though. So I'm I think it's gonna be a big atmosphere. The feeling of the stadium gonna be rocking. So it's gonna be the type of game where playmakers make plays,
Just kind of getting our bodies back for those couple days, but also just looking back at ULM. Taking the good, taking the bad, what we can get better on, and also jumping, into Southern Miss.
How important was it to have that type of performance against ULM to know that, okay, this is what we can do?
Yeah, no, it's huge. I think going in there, and especially that place, for us to start out that way and finish the game, I think that's what we needed as a team, and we can take that into next week and just continuing getting better and, just growing as a team and making sure we're consistent.
Is it almost a little bit of a drag to have the bye where you can't go right back and play after you guys play so well?
It can be if you let it be. I think if you're focused in on what you need to and make sure that you're taking care of your body and you're getting a jump, on who you're playing next, I think the bye goes pretty fast, but you're also locked into what you're doing to beat the next team.
Thursday and then another Saturday off, and then you got a Tuesday and then a Thursday later. Kind of messes up the routine a little bit. How do you guys deal with that?
Like I said, if you let it mess it up, then I think if you stay narrow-minded, kind of go into it, the coaches are going to do a great job for us as players and kind of have a schedule for us on what we need to do. And if we follow that and trust them, I think we'll be just fine.
What do you see in the Southern Miss team?
Experience. I mean, up front especially. You know, you got those front guys, those D linemen. You know, they're back a lot of games that they've played. You know, I think their linebackers do a great job at filling holes in the run game and also see it really well when it comes to play action. I think, you know, outside with the DBs and the safeties, you know, you got a lot of length there with them. So we got a big task at hand of us, but you know, it's a great one to have. We'll be ready to go.
They got a new defensive coordinator. How different are they compared to what they did last year?
I see a little bit more man. You know, I think, you know, you don't see as many zone pressures as you did last year, but they're definitely still there. See a lot more man when you play ODU. You look at that game. You go back, you know, a couple games, not a lot of 12 personnel. But, you know, I think, you know, what he wants to do is just, you know, play ball and kind of what their strengths are is keep them to their strengths. And, you know, this year I think it's a little bit different from those zone pressures. They're going to keep them more man.
Colin Lacey's really been on a roll, and you know, how big has he been, especially considering Devin got hurt and you guys lost Jalen Lamb and all that stuff?
Yeah, he's really good at football, that's for sure. You know, he stepped up into a huge role. I think not only him, but JP and Javon have kind of gotten their feet wet early on in the, you know, the first couple of weeks. It was kind of, I wouldn't say a shock to them, but you know, they were definitely ready for when it came. And I feel like they're just now, you know, we got into a groove with each other at practice and in the games. I think, you know, these next, you know, 6 games that we got are going to be great for them, but also, you know, Colin's doing an unbelievable job at taking, you know, that wide receiver 1 role, and, you know, he's helping that room tremendously. So I can't be more proud of him.